Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. It's Ceasefire Sunday. Yay! And this is a sewing vlog.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
And I know I always start by saying I hope everyone is safe and well, but I really, truly, really mean it. So I hope everyone is safe. And so this is just a vlog, and I've just got snippets from the things that I've done over the past week or so. So I recorded so I'm sort of doing, instead of at the end of each year or the start of each year, people do everything I made videos, and I was a little bit too prolific last year, and so yes, what can I say, workaholic. You end up with a nice wardrobe, a very full one. Anyway, so I couldn't really do one video of everything I made. Plus, these are things that I've made over 15 years. I haven't been making jackets non-stop for 15 years. There are periods of time where I have to focus almost exclusively on, I'm a writer, so on my work projects. But then there are times where you sort of have to just live on your savings and you have quite a significant amount of free time. So yeah, I just like to make my own clothes. So it's just each their own. So and this is me saying, so I recorded a few of the different color ones. I did the brown one, then the aqua one, then the beige one, then the grey and silver ones, and then this is actually going to be in the magenta and bright colors one, or rainbow one, and I call it the Snow White tweed just because the colors in it remind me of that Disney image of the Snow White character. And anyway, I started beading it, but I don't like the beading, so I am going to have to carefully take these beads off, which is going to be interesting. So there's some on a little bit of the front, and then I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. So then I put some on the arm. Like, if you don't like the beading that you've done on the front, you're probably not going to like it on the arm either. But anyway, so I did a little bit on the front, a little bit on the top of the arm, a little bit on the back, and then a little bit on the cuff of the other sleeve. And this one here, I also have to take these beads off. You saw it in the brown jackets, and obviously it's a green jacket, but the beads are brown, and I'm going to use the beads on one that's a jacket that's in the dark green collection, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And yeah, so I love this combination, but yeah, I didn't have enough structural layers, and the beads are too heavy, and it's just not right. So I carefully got my thread cutters and I carefully cut each one off. But yeah, the jacket looks I haven't bothered. So I took off all the beads, and I took out some of the thread as I was going, but it's still got a lot of thread in it. Anyway, I wasn't going to buy any fabrics because at the end of the year they always have those end of year sales, and I wasn't going to buy any, but then this one store had like super specials, and instead of buying 1 meter or 1 yard of tweed, I could get like 20 yards of fabric. I don't need 20 yards of fabric. I know this. It's well established fact. But they had I wasn't going to, but then they had that watermelon fabric that I really wanted. Well, they had that on sale, and sometimes there's just one thing and you're just like, your resolve just completely crumbles. And then there are all these other ones that I liked as well, because there's like, if you hit a certain amount of money, then if you spend a certain amount of money, then you get free delivery. So I was like, well, if I get all these ones, then I can get free delivery. And so it worked out to, if you buy 20 yards of these super specials, then you end up with enough to get free delivery. So am I even going to be able to make 20 extra jackets in a year. I don't know. But anyway, they accidentally sent me, so this is me showing you all I'm going to do different fabric hauls, and my idea is that I'm going to use up, I just did one where I did greys and beige and yellows, so I'm going to use up all those fabrics before you see the next fabric haul, and then I'm going to do another fabric haul and I'm going to use up all those fabrics before you see another fabric haul. There is a slight problem with this fabulous new way of doing things in that I still have a massive fabric stash, so I have to use those ones as well. But anyway, so this is me dividing them up into all different groups, and I have this other fabric. Oh my god, it's hilarious. I bought 3 meters of it, so I'm going to make a couple of different jackets and then bead them in different ways. So yeah, that was me just sorting out the different sections. But the watermelon fabric that I ordered was this big watermelon fabric, and they sent me this small watermelons fabric. Like, the size of the print is much smaller, and then it's more pink and not green, and green is my favorite color. So this is me just showing you that I was about to film the gray one. I ended up putting a couple more gray jackets on the rack before I filmed it, but I really love the way that floral beaded one turned out, the gray one. And this is me showing you that I, yes, carefully went along, because this tweed is very three-dimensional. See that beige pile of nest at the side? That's all the threads. I went along and plucked them all out. It took forever, but doesn't she look pretty? It's so cute. And yeah, I think I'm going to put clear beads over it. It's just transparent glass ones, because yeah, I really like the whiteness of that one. And that's me showing you that massive jar there of brown beads. They all came off that green jacket. Isn't that amazing? Whereas this one only had like this tiniest little bag of beads. So it's just, some people ask me, like, how much does each jacket cost? First of all, that's a very rude question. Second of all, the thing about, this is me showing you, I haven't pulled out the threads from that jacket. The thing about each jacket is the investment of your time is actually the most, it's the same with every garment. The investment of your time is the most expensive aspect of each piece that you make. So you might as well enjoy yourself while you make it, is what I think. And this was me just sorting out my grey beads before I shot the grey ones. I quite like the way the grey one turned out. So I've shot the video, but I haven't done the voiceover yet. And see, I added a few more jackets to it. So it's mostly just fabrics, the grey one. I've made 6 grey and silver jackets. Only a couple of them are beaded. And then the next one I did was the dark greens. They are, some of my oldest jackets are on this rack, and they're just absolutely beautiful. Only a couple of them, I think 4 of them are beaded. 5. Just keep adding an extra one. But yeah, and I've got loads of green, obviously. How many times do I have to say that green is my favorite color? It really is. I just cannot, articulate how much joy green brings me. It's just beautiful. I love it. It reminds me of nature and trees and all things good. Anyway, so I worked on this because there was a ceasefire. I was like, I was just like, I didn't want to start any new projects, and I was just, a little bit anxious for everyone. And this is the jacket that's, it used to be called the cactus jacket. And yes, I decided a little while ago that I needed more weight on the sleeves, so like on the bottom, because I love this all over beading. It does make it look like a cactus, but it's not quite heavy enough. And when I was making the aqua video, I mentioned that my aqua Chanel has a sort of twin jacket that's not exactly the same. It's completely different tweed and completely different colors, but because I made them both at the same time, I block interfaced them, which means you have to sew when the tweed is one that unravels really, really easily. It's basically easier to make the jacket by hand stitching the entire piece of tweed to a backing fabric. In my case, I use what they do in the Paris fashion houses. I use a netting. So I hand stitched this Chanel tweed in aqua to a bit of pale blue netting, which is probably why I ended up doing the pale blue beads on the beaded trim, come to think of it. But also I think that's all the beads that I had at the time. Anyway, so I did that, and then I hand stitched the that green tweed to the green netting base, which is probably why it ended up with green beads. So if you feel like you can't see the beads properly, that's because, well, I didn't use very many beads in the beaded trim because, as I said, my collection was quite it's just gone a little bit extreme in the past decade. But when I started making jackets, there weren't that many. And this is just a close-up of the Gucci green is what I call this jacket. The tweed is from Linton Tweeds, and then the beads, there's just like a mix of some normal gold ones, but I also had these vintage gold sequins, but there were only a few of one shape and a few of another, and I used them all in the one thing. I love it. But I feel like it doesn't have enough weight. Oh, and then these are some of the green fabrics that I had to film, and I just love the bits of footage so much. I sort of slapped them into this video. I was like, I'll put them into. Oh, so anyway, I contacted when the fabric store sent me the wrong fabric. I was like, oh, this is so disappointing. I really wanted the big watermelons because it's just, I love it. I love this fabric. It's the reason I bought all the other ones as well. So I contacted them, and they took a while to get back to me because I guess everyone's getting sort of trying to return things at the moment. And they said if I take it in, I can get the other fabric, the big watermelon ones, which is awesome because I love those big watermelon. That fabric is just so pretty. So I'm very happy that that's I'm going to be able to swap them. Anyway, so the next collections video I'm going to do is I think the Barbie's going to make a cameo in the rainbow and magenta video. It's not really rainbowy. I still have 4 jackets to put on the rack which are rainbowy, but the magenta ones aren't really very magenta-y. But I had the 2 magenta Chanels. One of them has fringe and the other one doesn't, but you can't really see that when they're on the rack. Anyway, so I'm going to do more on the cactus jacket. I'll just keep calling it the cactus jacket because I guess it's easier. Oh my gosh, this took so much time to do because there's a sequin in between each seed bead. Big mistake. I should have just done like when I did the Paris jacket and then the grey floral beaded jacket with the chandelier bits. I just did a string of seed beads, then 1 feature bead on the end, then an anchor bead. But whereas with this one, I did it's in between every single seed bead is one of these really difficult to put on because they're not actually technically a sequins. They're just a scatter, and they happen to have a few holes in them because the holes look like strawberry seeds. So they're not the right shape, and your needle sort of has to find the hole. It's just really frustrating, but it does look amazing once it's done. So, and I've got 3 rows on it. I haven't tucked up the hem, so that's why in some shots it looks like the long bits are a little bit higher up on the cuff. So I was just doing 1 cuff as a test, and I like it. I think I'll do 3 rows because there's 3 rows on this one. I think I'll do 3 rows on the cuffs and the hem and around the neckline and maybe down the front center. Because this one only requires one type of bead and one type of sequin, and they're really quite small. I have this near the sofa, and I work on this one in the evening. So yes, I think I'm going to do another bead haul or two, and then I'm going to shoot a couple more of these. I've got a couple more of these videos to go of my everything I made, because I've got the black and white one, I've got the navy one, I've got the rainbow and magenta one, and then I think that might be it. Goodness. Oh, and I was holding off on making my Make Nines 2025 video because I needed to know what my big plans for this year were, and I've decided I am going to keep doing 3 videos a week because I don't know, I kind of like having the discipline of having to make 3 videos. Not that they're all stellar at the moment, sorry about that, but it's just, well, events are being a little concerning recently. Well, they always are. But instead of making one thing every week or one thing every episode, I just decided to take stock of what I have and, what jackets I've made. Because I kind of want my jackets to, I make my own clothes to wear my own clothes. But bigger picture, I kind of want them to be like a collection, when you go to the Met and they have those special costume exhibits, and there's all different rooms and each room has a theme. So I kind of want to think about big picture, what do I want the collection to be like of all my jackets, and then sort of find out, what are the gaps and how do I fill them. So apologies for not making any new things, but that is where I'm at, and that's the process that I'm going through. So, I am sort of plugging away at a few longer term projects that are just really, really detailed. That's where I'm at, and I've got loads of old episodes as well if you want to see something being made from start to finish. So there is that. But for now, that is where I am at. So thank you very much for watching. That is it for this video. How are your plans for this year going? Are they very grand, or are they more realistic and less stressful? I recommend the latter, because being too stressed is not fun, and a hobby should be fun. Happy sewing.